This is a tutorial to show you how to make a Shepard Fairey inspired image. So this is inspired by the Barack Obama Hope poster that he's made. So what you're going to do is open up Photoshop. You're going to go to New File. We're going to go to Print. And we're going to go to A4. And we're going to create. Now hopefully you already have your image of the person that inspires you. For me, it's Frida Kahlo. And I've got two windows open now. I'm going to drag that one over. I'm going to get to my Move tool. Photoshop's great because you can leave your mouse over the parts and it'll hover to tell you what it is. It also has little videos. So we're going to drag and hold and drag her onto this stage. We're now going to enlarge it. So all I did was Control T and that will help me to enlarge. I'm not pressing anything else. If I pressed Shift, it would distort. I don't want to do that. So I'm just going Control T and making it so it fills that window. Now what I want to do now is I want to delete this background. Photoshop has had a bit of an upgrade, so we've got a quick selection tool. What I'm going to do is I'm going to select Frida. All I'm doing is pressing Shift and I'm dragging my mouse around her because I want, her to be selected, but not the background. Now I'm going to zoom in a little bit because I want to make sure that I've got everything that I need. I can be a little bit more fussy on the earrings. I can change the points here. If I press Alt, you can see it goes from a negative to a positive. So that means that I can remove some parts on here just so it's a little bit cleaner. I can also add the parts of the earring. Doesn't matter if it's a little bit rough. Get rid of the inside of that and try and add that part there. Okay. I think we're okay, so I'm going to press zoom. Again, if I press Alt, it'll go out. Oop, I can see just here I've got this part, so I want to make sure that that is actually selected. So if I zoom back out, I've got Frida. I'm going to go copy and I'm going to go paste. So if I go on here now, you can see that I've deleted that background. I'm going to leave that one there because that's okay. I can leave it just in case I need to go back to it. So now I'm going to go to image and I want to make it grayscale. I don't want to flatten it. I'm just going to discard. So all the color is gone. What I'm going to do now is go adjustments, and I'm going to go posterize. Basically, Shepard Fairey uses quite a number of colors. So he's got the bone, a dark kind of navy, a blue, and a red. So that's 4 colors. So we're going to pick 4. If we pick 2, you can see that's how many colors it goes. If we picked 15, it would go like this. When 3 would be that. So we're going to go with the 4. We're now going to go back to image mode and RGB color. We don't want to flatten it because we want the layers. So what I'm going to do now is I'm going to copy this image, paste it in here, just so I've got the colors handy. All right, so I'm going to select everything that's black. So I'm going to go to Magic Wand and I'm going to try and pick everything that is black. I might have to zoom in on this so I can pick the bits that I need. Again, I'm pressing Shift. I don't really want to press too much because I'm going to pick everything that color is. I want to make sure I get a bit of her hair. If it gets slightly different color, that's okay. We're going to go here, a little bit on that bit. Oops. All right. I'm going to go to my layers now. I'm going to go new layer and I'm going to go OK, and I'm going to call this navy because that's the navy color I'm going to go with. Now, because I've got this Obama picture on here, I really just use it so I can take the color. So if I pick the color, which is navy. Then I go to the paint bucket. I can now fill up everything that was black with that color. So if I undo deselect, so if I go Control D, get through the marching ants, you can see I've mostly got everything. There's a few parts I've missed. I need to go back to where my layer is, so have to be active, otherwise it's not going to select it. But now what I can do, excuse me, is I'm going to select the last of the black, just so I've got what I need. Again, I'm just pressing Shift, oops, and I've pressed way too much there. So you've got to be careful because you don't want to be selecting everything on that page. Again, if you miss a few, it's okay. I'm going to have to zoom out a little bit. Press Shift, back to the magic wand. Just trying to get those last bits in there. Again, if you don't get all of it, it's okay. You could be forever trying to grab all of the parts, but if you get the main parts, it's probably the best scenario. So if I zoom back out again, I go back to my navy layer, and then I'm going to paint bucket those. You can see that that has covered those bits again. Probably got just the tiniest little bit that I missed here. And again, oop. I'm not going to get that bit. Make sure you're on the right layer when you are actually filling the bucket. Alright, so navy done. If I click that off, and I'm going to go back to the original, and now I'm going to pick the next colour. So we might go this grey colour. I think we've mostly got it. I'm going to go new layer, go OK. If I look at that Obama, I can see we might try and go the lighter blue. We're going to paint bucket that. Deselect. You can see at the moment I've got the two colours. I've got that lighter blue and I've got the navy blue. So now we have to pick what will be our red. He doesn't have a huge amount of the red on there. Maybe I might go straight to bone. I'm going to select the lightest parts of her face. Oops. Some of those parts in there, the ear. Go new. Okay, call that bone. Oops, call that light blue. I'm going to select that color again, so go to my eyedropper tool. Turn that off. I'm going to make sure I'm on the bone layer. I've got that one there. If I look at those three now together, it's not doing too bad. Guess with the red, he's only got a little bit of red on there, so maybe we'll just pick a little bit and we'll see. We'll go new, we'll go red, we'll go paint bucket, that red. deselect it. And if I get rid of the original, I can move some of my layers around so I can see which layer I like. I can see that I've missed something on the neck. So if we go back to that layer, make sure it's open. And we might make that the light blue area. Make sure we're on that right bucket. We've got that little part of her head as well, that little highlight just there. And we might make that blue as well. Paint bucket. Alright, so now we've got our Frida Kahlo work. We can make it look a little bit more like the Obama one by doing that red and blue background. So if I make that the blue, paint bucket, and make, oops, I did that on the wrong layer. I'm going to go undo, go new. Oops, paint bucket that one, go new. Do the other side. We'll do it in red though. Paint bucket. Alright, so put them at the bottom of this. I can see I've got my inspired work. I think I'm going to change it a little bit. I think I'm going to change it so I've got less red and a little bit more blue. And we'll put my blue there, and we'll make it a little bit wider. Alright, so the last part would be the way he's framed it with that lighter bone colour. So all I'm going to do is pick that colour. I'm going to fill the bucket and paint the whole thing. And put that right at the top. And then all I'm going to do is delete the middle. And I've got my Shepard Fairey style artwork. I'm going to save it as two things. I'm going to save it as a Photoshop file. I've already got one that I've tried before, so I'm going to call that number 2. To print it, you got to save a copy, call it a JPEG, and then you can print it from there. Go File, Print. Make sure you're picking the right colour and that you've got your printer settings. Now I'm printing this at home, so it's not actually going to be doing that for me, but you would pick that you're going onto A3 paper. Hope this has been useful for you. Okay, so now that I've got my Shepard Fairey inspired Frida Kahlo, look back at his work, you can see his is quite smooth in comparison to mine. So what I'm going to do is just to smooth off some of the parts of her face. I'm just going to go to my red layer only. So you can see, turning off all the eyeballs, I can see this is the one layer I'm going to be working on. I'm going to zoom in onto her face. You can see it's quite rough in comparison to Shepard Fairey's work. So what I want to do is grab the pen. I want to make it quite hard. Just want to check that that's the right bit. And all I'm going to do is I'm actually just going to colour in around the parts. All I'm doing is using my mouse. I can certainly change the brush settings so it's less or more. This is certainly going to make it easier if I'm going to paint this or trace and paint it later. So all I'm doing is actually just smoothing up around the place. I'm going to keep doing that for a bit. Okay, so I've spent the last few minutes trying to clean up these edges. At the moment, I'm going to leave the detail in the eyes, but I'm not going to do the bottom part because I am wanting just to concentrate on her face at the moment. So can see it's a little bit more Shepard Fairey, if you like. So what I can start to do now is I can actually start to target each of those layers, making sure that I'm on that layer and doing the same thing. So cleaning it up as much as we can. So if you get your eyedropper, so you've got the right color, you can move your settings so you're actually getting the right size. I might leave that like this. And then just keep going through each layer and just try and clean up each part. This will take a little while. So I've cleaned up the bone section now. So if I zoom out of that, oops, and put the red on there, you can see what's starting to happen. So it's just starting to go a little bit more like what he has done. I'm not going to change much about the eyes and the lips because I actually want them to just stay quite the same, but I'll continue the process of cleaning each section up just to make it a little bit flatter with the colour. All I'm doing is holding my mouse and then just basically tracing around the parts and then colouring them in. Obviously you can change the setting of your pen if you want to. You can see that I've cleaned up the lines on the navy section now. So I've only got the one last one to go, which is the light blue. Again, same process. Pick your colour, zoom right in, and then start cleaning up. Whoop. Make sure that you are on the right layer, and then continue cleaning. So just continuing to go around, softening those edges, cleaning up some other parts as well, making it so it is a solid colour. Okay, so I've cleaned up that light blue layer. So now if I put all my layers together, you can see now that it is a little bit more like what a Shepard Fairey work would be. I wonder where that white's come from. And it's kind of up to you on which layers you're going to leave in there, which ones might you not. Let's be on that layer. I think what I'm going to do too is just crop it so it's just of her face rather than the whole lot. I think that's going to work a little bit more for me. So that is a Shepard Fairey version, and that's the version we had before. Obviously, as an artist, you can make your choices as to what you keep and what you don't. You can also move layers around and see which way you like it to sit. I think that is quite nice. Thank you.